Yeah, that should be a fun program. Sounds like you got a lot of things going on there. Thank you for doing that for us.
My pleasure.
Hello, Gilda. Hello, Calvin and Fred.
I'm saving everybody from the 3-minute video
Bye-bye.
that was just downloaded to me. They said, you can use this in your presentation today. And I said, I haven't even seen it. And I told them,
Oh, okay.
I'll look at it afterwards.
You know, sharing a video on Zoom can be tricky. It can be really tricky.
Yeah.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Aaron. I'm going to Teddy, so you'll get both of us. How are you?
Okay, good. How are you?
Thank you so much. Nice to see all of you.
Nice to see you too.
Here's our rotary. Say hi to Aaron.
Hi,
Aaron.
Hi, Teddy. How are you?
Eating my lunch.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
He always has a nice smile, right? He's always smiling.
I love your garden in the background, Aaron.
Oh, you know, I try to maintain it. Yeah. I'm overdue for a new background, actually. We'll get started in about 8 minutes.
You know, Aaron, I looked up chateaus, vacation chateaus. And on my other computer, that's what my background is. I got this antlers over my fireplace, and you can see the mountains with snow in the background. It looks like I'm saying, you know, I'm just vacationing in COVID up here in Aspen.
Wow. Hi, Dennis.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm in my daughter's new house.
Oh, nice.
Working up here.
I thought that would have been your cabin, but
Well, I wish.
does she have, is that like a library there?
This is it's a big house, and let me see here. Yeah, this is kind of a den that my son-in-law will be working from, and this is the
Right.
view outside. It's really
Oh, wow.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, looks like Henry Huntington's office there. Yeah.
Dennis, where are you?
well, I'm at my daughter's place, and
What's the location?
well, it's on Encino Drive. It's right north up Virginia, and you turn left at that spot where it says no left turn, and it's that canyon down there.
Right.
Except this place is up high, and you don't feel like you're in a canyon at all. And it's a big house. It's over 5,000 square feet. And so now for two people, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. But I think they got a real good price on it. So anyway, that's where they bought it last week, and now I'm working on it. So how's everybody?
Everybody's good.
It's great.
Yeah. Hi, Brian. Hello, Andrew and Shodi. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. I see Gilda's posted her sign-in sheet. We'll get started in about 6 minutes.
Do we have to sign in somehow?
Yeah.
It would be awesome if you could. You just
Where?
go on that link on the chat.
Where it says chat.
There we go, in the chat. And it's just the link. It'll pop up on your screen, and it's pretty, there's only like, I don't know, 4 or 5 fields. So
Please sign in. I don't know.
and
Hi, John.
if it's challenging, I can sign you into Dennis.
Why don't you do that for me? I am technologically impaired.
Good to see you, John Jones.
Aaron, how are you?
Good. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. So who's received their second vaccination? Anyone?
I have.
I did.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone get sick?
No.
I
No?
didn't feel so
A little
great for
bit.
a day.
You over here.
Just a little bit.
A little bit?
A
Okay.
little bit. Malaise, a little malaise.
Yeah.
I'm
You too,
waiting for
Shodi?
my second.
Who's that, Andrew?
Yep,
Okay, you're waiting for your
a
second?
little less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Jody, you got
Andrew, we
yours?
only see the top of your head.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Must have been the vaccine.
Hi,
Shrunk you down.
Devin.
Hi.
Hello, Chris.
Did anybody get sick after the Pfizer?
That's all. It's a date. I have to sign it now. Because I have to.
Yeah.
I've had the first dose of Pfizer and no reactions.
Okay.
Yeah, none for me at all.
Hi, Debbie and Lucille.
Hello.
Hello.
Mailman's at the door. Mail? Yeah. I'll go get it. You just wait here. Okay? I am, but. You need to sit here. I gotta get a jacket. Okay, I'll go get you a jacket. You sit here, please. Okay?
Has Lucille got her vaccinations?
Yes, she's got both of them,
Oh,
and
great.
she had very little soreness in the arm on the day, and that's it.
Oh, great. Hi, Lucille.
Good.
Hi there.
Hi, sir.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're on.
Hi. Yeah, hi. Who said hello? Okay.
Hi, Lucille. You look great.
What, do I look great?
You look great. That's from Gilda.
You look beautiful there.
Hi, Lucille. I'm sending you my love.
And
This is Teddy.
you took
Me too, Lucille.
hi. Love you all. Love you all. I'm enjoying life. I'm eating 3 meals a day.
Everything. I love it.
I need a hug from you. I need a hug from you. There you are. Hi, sweetheart. Beautiful woman. Beautiful you are.
We'll get started in a couple minutes.
On behalf of all the women, we don't know who you're telling we're beautiful. Thank you. We agree and appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. My goodness. And JP, I didn't get to say congratulations to you. I like what you're doing.
Thank you, Lucille.
And is your son over here now, or is he back?
He's over here trying to go back to Cambodia, but it's a challenge. Everything is frozen right now. So hopefully in a month or two, we're all waiting.
Well, I was in San Diego yesterday.
Wow.
I had to put miles on my car. I can't get a smog certificate.
Wow.
Hi, Mary. Welcome.
Hi, Erin.
So Gilda says it's Women's History Month, so congratulations to all women. You're all beautiful, that's what she says.
All right.
We hope you agree.
Oh, yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Does that mean all women should be history?
Now we're going to make you history.
We make history.
You make history. What's the saying behind every great man is a greater woman? Or I don't know if I botched that up.
Behind every great man, there's a woman. That's
There you
right.
go. There you go.
No.
I think that greater is very important to add in there.
I think
You
it
go,
should be,
Mary. Welcome to Rotary.
it should be behind every great woman is a man.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that's the way it's supposed to be said.
Hello.
Do we
We
have
have
a
it
men's
politically
history
defined.
month?
Say it this way. I know it's the case in my life.
Yeah, definitely.
Your wife is beautiful and lovely.
I'm in Rotary right now.
Yeah.
Until you're in trouble, Fred.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
just
call you
speaking
back.
from my own
Tell
instance.
Matt what time he's coming.
All right, folks, we are going to get started.
Okay, so it's now 12 o'clock, so some.
As we remember that March is Water and Sanitation Month in the Rotary world, I called the March 4th, 2021 meeting of the Rotary Club Assembly to order. We are truly a club that
Makes a difference.
makes a difference. Great. Okay, please stand and join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
Is it the
It's the
truth?
truth.
Second,
Is it
fair
fair
to
to all?
all
All
concerned.
concerned.
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
friendship.
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led today by Fred Soul.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of
America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Thank you. Fred, whenever you're ready, Fred.
Okay. Dear Lord, bless this gathering of fellow Rotarians today. Please help us to see those in need and give us the strength and wisdom to serve our community as we should. Help us to lift the burdens of others while we maintain the dignity of humankind. Soften our hearts to be sensitive and loving as we serve together as Rotarians. We ask that you help us remember always the four-way test as we work today and every day. Help us to serve humbly and willingly as we focus on the needs of our community, our gifts, and help us to use them wisely. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Fred. Appreciate those words. All right, introduction of guests. Do we have any guests today?
I was looking to see if we have any guests, and other than our speaker who will speak and be introduced a little bit later, I don't see anybody.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Gilda. Okay, time to pass the pandemic pig for polio. You can raise your envelopes and your contributions. I see you, JP and Stephanie, Andrew and John and Nicole and Teddy, Barbara, Denise, Lois. Thank you so much. If I missed anyone, sorry. Gilda, thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, birthdays and anniversaries. John McClurg celebrated a birthday on March 2nd. So happy birthday to John McClurg. We miss him dearly. Member anniversaries. Isaac Hung celebrates an anniversary as a Rotarian on March 6th. He's celebrating 13 years. So big hand to Isaac Hung.
Yay.
Stephanie Johnson on March 7th celebrates 2 years. So congratulations, Stephanie. John Donovan on March 8th celebrates 14 years. Wow. Okay. Congratulations to John Donovan. And wedding anniversaries. Tony Galaviz celebrates 13 years with his wife on March 1st. Uh-oh. Let me. Okay. And then Dr. Gene Orlowski celebrates 13 years with his wife, Mary, on March 1st. So congratulations to everyone. All right, so we have quite a few announcements today.
Teddy has 33 years of marriage Saturday.
Oh, congratulations to Teddy and Nicole. Yes. Congratulations. Okay, good to know. All right, I don't see Bill Payne. He has an announcement. I'll skip him for now. We'll start with Barbara. There you go, Barbara, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Aaron. As you can see, I have my Dodger mask on, and I'm here to remind everyone that on the 25th of this month, we're going to have the Dodger historian, Mark Langhill, as our featured speaker. So I encourage you to dust off your Dodger blues and sort of remembers your Dodger trivia, because we're going to have a trivia contest. And so we're going to swing into spring for the opening season of the Dodgers on April 1st. They are playing in the Cactus League now, but they start for real on the 1st. Now, I know Dennis, for one, will know that the 3 names of the Dodgers prior to the time they were called the Dodgers, but don't give us an answer now because you don't get your prize until the 23rd. And I'm sure that Stephanie knows when the Dodgers played their spring training before they came to Arizona, but Stephanie, don't tell us now. And Gilda, I bet you know the 3 favorite pitches of Clayton Kershaw. Wait until we ask on the trivia day and you'll get one of Mark's books. So Gene, let me ask you one question, because I'm sure Gene Broadhead knows this. How many farm teams does the Dodgers currently have, Gene? I think Jean is not, she's waiting for her prize on the 25th. So we won't have to do that now, Jean. Anyway, I encourage you all to come. He is a walking encyclopedia of Dodger information. He has a great sense of humor, and he's a local product from South Pasadena. So thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, Gilda, you have a couple of announcements.
Yes, I do. First, if you could please sign in, I'll put it up throughout the morning for you guys to sign in. Second, a couple of different things. Next Thursday, for all of our yearlings, all of you who have not graduated to Blue Badge, or you don't know what I'm talking about, come and join us next Thursday, virtually still, from 5:30 to 6:30. Please let me know that you can be there. This is for all of the newest members. We want to just make sure you are feeling like you know what is next on your checkbox, and getting you connected with different people, making sure you're making headway to get you to Blue Badge. So please join us next Thursday. By the way, this is also for members. We want members there, especially if you have a committee and you're a head of a committee and you want new yearlings or new members to join your committee. Please come. This is a great opportunity to meet them and to really socialize and get more people on your committees. The next announcement is the Barth Scholarship. If you go to our website, there's a section on the Barth Scholarship. This is our, I want to say, is it our 4th year or 3rd year? I've lost count. Dennis will know.
Yeah.
Third year.
3rd year. Okay, I advanced us. So this is the 3rd year we are offering the Barth Scholarship Award. It's for seniors to apply, and it's basically somebody who's done service. They have to apply, go through the application process, and be in an interview process. It's open to seniors at San Marino High School or Southwestern Academy. We do have 2 scholarships of $2,500. I'm on the committee. Claudia Atala is the committee head. She can't be here during our lunchtime, but she asked me to announce it. The announcement is on the website. Please let any senior you know that this is open and for them to apply. We do have 2 scholarships of $2,500, and the deadline is April 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Gilda. Okay, let's see. Devin has an announcement.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to share that the South Pasadena San Marino YMCA is going to be partnering with Children's Hospital Los Angeles to host a blood drive at the Y. The blood drive blood supply has been really critically low during the pandemic, so we're excited to partner with them and get some donations. The thing with them is they are very picky about making sure that they have registrations ahead of time. So with a lot of our other blood drives, we have a lot of walk-ins, but we are hoping to get more people registered for the blood drive. So I'll put the information in the chat on how to register, but it's really easy. You can just go to their website, which is chla.donateblood.org. And you can sign up for the blood drive. So we're going to keep Rotarians busy on the 11th because our blood drive is also next Thursday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you're interested in donating blood, or you have others that might be interested in signing up, we'd love for you to help get the word out. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Devin. And I see Bill Payne has arrived. Bill, you have an announcement?
Yeah, it's great to share good and positive news. Our global grant scholar, Mark Liang, has been accepted by RI, and our check, is on its way to Dennis in the amount of $31,000. Mark graduated from San Marino High, is a Fulbright scholar, has been accepted also into Cambridge in the UK. And he's also been accepted in medical school, and his medical school acceptance has been delayed a year so that he can take our international opportunity. So Mark is number 28 for our club. The tradition continues. Thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Bill Payne. If everyone, let's give Bill Payne a round of applause. He's seen this through from the beginning to end. He does it every year.
Way to go,
And
Bill.
yes. Thank you so much, Bill.
Awesome, Bill. Your dedication is great.
A lot of detailed
Thank
work.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Bill. All right. Paul reminds us that March 18th, we have 8 outstanding performers for the Dance Stover Music Contest. So please be here March 18th. That's the week after next. And Paul says it's a good time to pour a glass of wine and enjoy the show. So March 18th, don't forget the date, Dance Stover Music Contest. We have 8 outstanding performers. Thank you so much. Okay, our program for next week is Diane Falconer on climate change and why should you care. Thank you to Bill Payne and the programs committee for putting that together to us. And also Diane Falconer, correct me if I'm wrong, she is an ambassador scholar, correct? A former 2?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other announcements? I hope I didn't forget anyone. Okay, thank you all. All right, I will turn it over to JP to introduce our guest speaker.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I'm very happy to introduce Dean Billman, a good friend of mine. Dean is Vice President of Wealth Management at Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, but besides his day job, he's doing so many things. I'm going to summarize. He's been a long-time member of the Pasadena Rotary Club. He's been board member, club secretary, Tyros chair, and working on many service projects. He's also, if that wouldn't be enough, he's also a long-time volunteer in the Tournament of Roses, which didn't do much this year, but certainly next year it will resume. In 2015, I had the pleasure of traveling to Cambodia with Dean and his wife, Karen, to visit the Community First Farm in Cambodia and go to Seoul in South Korea to attend the Rotary International Convention. It was easy to travel back then, and it was a great opportunity to really witness how Rotary connects the world. I really enjoyed that trip. But the topic of today is polio. Dean has a lot to share as he grew up with polio in his family. Both his father and father-in-law were polio survivors. He has since been a lifetime advocate of eliminating polio worldwide, and he's going to tell us more about that. Dean, take it away.
Thank you, JP and President Aaron. Again, I'm Dean Billman, and I live here in Pasadena. Sorry about my blue eyes here. I'll go like this. I live here in Pasadena, and I have the pleasure of going to Cambodia with JP and his son Pierre to look at the role of, we were going to go to the Seoul Rotary International Convention, and JP and Pierre found out about that, and Pierre invited us. He goes, you know, why don't you come over a couple days early and then fly over to Cambodia, and the village elders would love to thank you for the water projects that we've put into the villages. And my wife was like, yes. And I said, you know, this is not the Serengeti with the, you know, 5-star dining and the tents and everything. They have no water. So it's kind of primitive. But we went there, and it was a wonderful experience. I encourage all of you to go if you haven't been yet. It's, you know, Pierre makes it a first-class adventure, and it really was a very eye-opening experience, and maybe really a deep-hearted Rotarian over there. But I'll get back to that in a minute. Polio is something that I've lived with my entire life. My dad, who's 6.5 feet tall, is a giant, you know, walking through the store, I could always find him, but he always had a limp. And that's because when he was younger, he somehow didn't know this, but he contracted polio. And so my entire life, I've always known my dad as, you know, the really great guy and an executive for General Electric, but he always had a limp, and it's because of his polio. And we just took it as this is just what happened. People survive the war and come back with wounds, and he survived polio, and this is what he's lived with. We never thought much of it. But as I was getting older, and we would have actually, believe it or not, they had polio vaccination campaigns where they had little comic books talking about where polio was and people in iron lungs, and we all grew up with this, right? And so when I found out that that Rotary, I was invited to Rotary a couple times, and it never really clicked until I found out that Rotary was dedicated to eradicating polio. And so that's when I decided that I would join. And I tell people when I introduce myself in the club, I'm part of our polio pig and everything else, is that I'm giving money this week to my father, Neil Billman, who is a Rotary survivor and the reason that I joined the club. I've been doing that for years. And then so finally I got pulled in to be the Rotary Plus chair for District 5300. But going back to my dad, I've lived with polio, and then to find out that my father-in-law was crippled with polio. I mean, my dad was okay, and they think that because he grew up on a farm, he plowed the fields in his bare feet. That's what gave his legs strength. And that's what, he didn't even know he had polio till he joined the Navy. And during an obstacle course test, he failed and he found out that he had polio. And so he got discharged, you know, from World War II. But my father-in-law has a different story. He was so crippled in his hips, and his family just didn't know what to do with him. They lived in Michigan, that he was sent to a sanitarium, an insane asylum, as a little kid, where they would do operations after operations trying to cure his muscles and bone that had been crippled by polio. He, to this day, he's in his 80s, will not use a handicap placard because he doesn't want to be considered handicapped. This is what polio does. And the presentation I'm about to give basically talks about how the work that we in Rotary have done to help eradicate polio can also maybe be perhaps used to help eradicate the COVID-19 virus. So to sort of bring it to a full circle, the reason I joined the Rotary Club is because of the polio eradication effort. And as we all know, some people who've been in the club probably for the last 20 years, there rumors that people have been sort of saying, well, after we cure polio, what's our next thing to go after? In fact, I even heard today, talking to my club president, that some people in our club have said, what's the big push for polio? I mean, nobody I know has it. And why does our club keep focusing every week on polio? Of course, now I'm taking that as my charge, right? It's like, hey, I know what polio is all about. So today I want to share with you the presentation that basically talks about where we are. It's pretty brief, and it's a PowerPoint. And then afterwards, I have sort of an update on the world situation with polio. So I just want to sort of share this presentation. I'm supposed to go to, what is it there? How many clubs are in District 5300? 26, something like that. And you're my first club. So any feedback would be great. Allow me to continue. So I'm going to share my screen. And right here, sorry. Good. Okay. Great. So you're seeing a woman in another country writing down, I'm sorry, my Zoom
Dean? Oh. Did we lose him?
Yeah.
Am I still back in?
I hear you, Dean.
Okay.
I don't know where you're at. Let's see.
It says your Zoom quit unexpectedly, reported to Zoom. Like,
Oh, you're okay. Here you are. Let me put you back on the spotlight. If you can try to reshare it once more time.
Let's try this again.
If it doesn't work, I could share for you, Dean.
I'll give this one more shot. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick.
Works.
Thank you. So the title of this presentation is Polio Plus within the context of COVID-19. There we go, good. Okay, so we have to, we as Rotarians really have to pat ourselves on the back. And I don't mean that in a self-congratulatory way, but the fact that we're dedicated. The Global Eradication Initiative, which we started back in 1988, is not just us alone. We work with the World Health Organization, who go and organize the different places in the world that medical things are happening. We also work with UNICEF. We work with the CDC here in America, and with an alliance called the Gavi, which is a vaccine alliance around the world. Now, all these, of course, you've just heard about recently because of the past year. We've been working with these people for decades, but suddenly now we're all galvanized by the fact that how we're trying to work with and beat the COVID-19. And you can see that all of these organizations are not in a silo. They all work together as a team. And then on top of that, we add Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Such an important organization. And I might point out, besides a lot of the things that you've heard about with them donating money every year, they now have a 2-for-1. If you give $100, it's $300 to the Polio Plus program. So last year, as a memorial for my dad, when he passed away last year, I gave $5,000 to the Polio Plus organization because it turned into $15,000. That's the kind of power we're looking at as far as raising money. And every year we try to raise $50 million from within Rotary, and the Gates Foundation makes it $150 million. You might say, $50 million, that's crazy. We did it last year. And right now, this year, we're on our way to do it again. So where are we in the world? So we're on the front lines. Some of you may have been to India or to Pakistan or some other places in the world as far as helpers and the inoculation drive. There are hundreds of thousands of vaccinators in the world, which we support and fund. There are hundreds of thousands of community mobilizers. These are the peoples in the villages who know where the kids are and who know all the mothers and all the children. And sometimes you've got to go out into the smaller little towns and burbs and places like that to inoculate. And a lot of these community mobilizers are really our right hand. And then finally, tens of thousands of real medical officers who are overseeing the whole effort. We have 100, what's this Rotary? We have 146 laboratories. Whoops. I gotta go up here. There we go. We have 146 laboratories around the world that we fund, among with our partners, of course. We have thousands of surveillance medical officers and thousands of laboratory technicians. This is the infrastructure that we have built since 1988. And you can be very proud of the fact that this is an ongoing program, all to get rid of the very last part of polio, to eradicate it completely. I might point out on the slide, you know, polio is transmitted because it's a fecal virus. In other words, it goes through the person's body into the little village where the sewage is out in the open. Other children or people will splash through that, get it in their mouth, they have polio from the vaccine. That's how it's transmitted. If we can stop it from being in a human host and it dies, that means it will never go again. It's like smallpox. Once the virus is dead and it's gone and there's no more hosts, it will burn itself out and go away. That's what this is all about. In 1988, when we started, this is how many countries had polio, active wild polio. Today, this is 2020, you can see just 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now, this is a virus that we have, we can say we've actually gone in this direction from 88 to today. This is the virus, the polio virus. Here's the COVID virus. Of course, the darker the red, the more active it is. So you can see that this is the world we see today. This is the relevance of the work and of the background we have in the polio fight. Now, one of the problems we have is that as everyone stayed home, so had the vaccinators. And polio, all it takes is for some kid to go to another village and use sewage system there, and away you go. The polio is back again, and kids are, crippled for life. And it's not something to be cured from, as you know. Like my father-in-law found out, it's just muscle operations and crutches for the rest of your life. So we are continuing and coordinating the outbreak response. We're continuing the education on prevention in communities. We're continuing investigating the cases by looking through sewage systems. We're continuing by training healthcare workers, and we're continuing the tracing, the contact tracing. This all we become pretty darn aware of with this COVID-19, right? So this is what we've been doing now for all these years. We're continuing to do that, focusing on polio. And we have the infrastructure to do all that. And you can see the call center here in Pakistan. We have the global polio network for testing, the call centers, the community mobilizers, the logistics officers, all for polio. We have the infrastructure in place. And don't forget, the COVID vaccine is just rolling out now. These countries haven't even seen it yet. They don't get it. They're the next in line. Perhaps we can help. We have vaccine carriers provided by Rotary already. We paid for these people, thanks to you. In transporting of the specimens, of the testing, we help the food rations. As you know, people can't work, so they need to eat. And we do the personal protection equipment. We all now know PPE. And on top of that, we also have to communicate with the community and religious leaders in many of these countries, because that's the way their community responds and helps each other. Polio eradication in the midst of COVID-19, how can we help? Well, we have the infrastructure. I think you sort of see where this is going. The surveillance activities, the routine immunization, the vaccine supply, the additional services, ongoing vaccine diligence. And of course, we've all become aware of this, just helping people not to spread any other diseases. Finally, polio remains a public health emergency around the world. And we are advocating donor governments to remember polio and to continue to stamp it out. Just like a fire, it can go like an ember. Rotary fundraising efforts for polio continues. The media engagement, we're trying to tell people that polio is not gone. Just because COVID's here, we want to do both. We can't let go of the polio leads and progress that we've made. And this presentation was done last fall. The African region is likely to be certified polio-free in August. It is polio-free. Africa now has no polio. And if you keep it that way, go through a whole season of this and have no one introduce it back in, we can actually say, just like America, people in Africa will forget about polio. It won't be the crisis that it is. The bottom line and call for action: be proud that the polio eradication infrastructure that Rotary has helped develop can be supporting the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the things I know we've all done for the natural disasters, the Ebola, SARS, avian flu, to name a few. We've done this, not our first rodeo. The COVID-19 pandemic reminds us of polio epidemics in the past. I might point out in Boston in 1953, most of our lifetimes, Boston, they were laying people on the sidewalk outside of hospitals because there was nowhere to put them inside. They had so many people in the summer of 1953 that had polio that became a freak out. I'm gonna tell you, as you know, you heard about this, the pools were closed, parks were closed, kids were kept at home. Everything we just gone through, we have such short memories. 1953 had the exact same thing going on because of polio. Our dual priority is to support COVID-19 and polio eradication. We want to get to our $50 million fundraising goal this year. And thankfully, if we can do that, of course, every dollar counts up to that 50 million. It's not just that 50 million. The Gates Foundation is matching us 2 for 1. If you have a pencil and paper, write down endpolio.org/donate, or go to the RI website to donate. And that's every dollar you put in there, of course, it has your name on it. You will get, you'll know that your money's being matched 2 for 1. And we're going to fully resume immunizing children safely as soon as we can, and we need your help to just sort of pass the word around that we're continuing to try to eradicate polio. Polio Day, of course, was last fall, but we're still doing it. The toolkit for helping people end polio.org, focus on virtual events, easy event recognition, polio, World Polio Day video content available, those kind of things. I heard mention that we have a COVID pig. And I think that you get it. We're here, this system is set up, this is unique to Rotarians to be able to stamp out polio, stamp out all viruses. We have the system, we have the people, we have the heart. We can do this. Thank you. I can answer some questions.
Okay, Dean, yes.
I have some more details.
Let me change my view here. And just so you know, your voice is cutting in and out in some areas, but I hope everyone got the gist of that presentation. Do we have any questions for Dean? Please raise your hand. Bill Payne?
So Rotary was challenged by Jonas Salk when in 1986, I believe it was, when he was receiving Rotary's Person of the Year. He challenged Rotary because of the international extension that Rotary had and being a non-political organization. But we're not using the Salk vaccine, we're using the Sabin. I'm wondering if in the slide that you showed where all the laboratories were, whether those are in fact manufacturing plants or whether all of this is manufactured in San Diego. And I guess my second comment was that when you say polio, I think you mean polio and 5 other infectious diseases. I think it's a multi-use drop beyond polio.
Bill, I have to thank you for that. I'm taking notes because, like I said, this is my initial run at this, and that's good. I do know that a lot of those 147 dots you saw on the map are testing facilities because they test through the sewage system to see if there's any polio. I'm not aware of where they're manufacturing. I am from Cincinnati, so I'm very proud of Salk and the vaccine back there. That's their claim to fame. There is something, you brought up a good point that I do want to bring up. Wild polio versus polio from our vaccine. I want to answer that question before anybody answers it, asks it, because it's very important. And I think it's, for me, who's trying to eradicate polio, it's something that really concerns me. And I have some good news on that. I'll lean closer at the computer here. Okay, so last year we had 140 cases of wild polio. We had over 1,000 cases of polio that came from the vaccines that we delivered. That's pretty sobering. In other words, a child will get the vaccine, they'll internalize it. It's used the Salk vaccine. It's the weakened, and I wrote it down because it was Salk that they used, the weakened virus, but the virus is still alive. It's just weakened. And the body, in its effort to try to build immunities, the child will go to the bathroom and it actually does create polio in other children. And so in the world, we had 0 cases of wild polio last week. And all this year, we've had 2, one in Pakistan and one in Afghanistan. But the concern is the virus that we're using. And so I have much great news to give you. The chance of that happening, by the way, is 1 in 2.3 million doses. Okay, so 1 in 2.3 million doses, you could have the chance of contracting polio, which could be severe. That in that population of people who did contract it. If left unattended, this could be reintroduced back into the wild again. So it could turn into a wild case of polio. I'm just being frank here. So the point is that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has sponsored a new novel vaccine based on what we've learned from COVID. That technology is rolling out later this month, that it will not populate other people to get the polio from the vaccine that's being developed. And that's coming out just this month. That's probably the best news. It's kind of the worst news, the first part of this, and then the fact that we're trying to fix it. So this is really, just like COVID, it's a work in progress. We're learning from our mistakes. And I think that if somebody were to come to you and say, I heard that polio, that Rotary is actually causing polio, you could say 1 in 2 million is still not acceptable. And we are actually coming out, rolling out a program from the technology we've learned from COVID vaccines to make it so that we eradicate polio. That's the bottom line. Does that answer your question, Bill?
Thank you, Bill. We have any, JP?
Question, Dean. I was noticing in reading articles about polio that in Pakistan, actually, there is a compounding factor, which is the fact that with COVID-19, we have been regressing in terms of polio. It went from 17% of Pakistan, which was still, dangerous zone for polio. It went all the way up to 70% now. So is that the danger here, that it may go beyond Pakistan and propagate to India, for instance?
A lot of things are happening. As we all know, you've heard that Western medicines going into some of the wild areas of Pakistan has not been really well received. However, and that's the reason it's been populating. And so what they've done is they found out that when you go in there and try to push our vaccines on these people, there's a lot of myths and rumors. But when you use the women who work mother to mother into the villages, we've been highly successful in getting past the myths and being able to go and get the kids inoculated. So there is, in a sense, it's going, you notice that the area next to Pakistan and India is probably the wildest part of Pakistan. And so the Indians are very, very aware of that. And of course, there's a lot of tension in that border. So the attention is, we are able to go past a lot of the political and military checkpoints to be able to help kids there. But that still is an issue. And I have to say my hat's off to the women and the mothers who've been going in there and making those kind of meetings and trying to get the point across.
Yeah.
Thank you, JP. Denise, did you have your hand up? Oh, you're on mute.
I was going to ask a little bit, Dean, about post-polio syndrome, because some of my friends who contracted polio back in the 50s now have post-polio syndrome, and that might be something you could add a little bit more about.
I'll do a little more research on that. I think that, being my dad and my father and the priest who married us all had polio. It's interesting. I found that everybody I knew who had polio seemed to be very aware of, I don't mean it's not my it's my judgment, I guess it's not really scientific, but the fact that people who have polio work harder to overcome it. I think that goes into their lives as well. So in a sense, it's got it's a handicap they have to overcome. And so they work really hard at that. Post-polio syndrome is something they're just starting to, they weren't even aware that it even existed. It just felt that was just, old age catching up to you. But as we're aware with the post-COVID things, polio it attacks the muscles. And so most people who got polio, their lung muscles were paralyzed, hence the iron lung, or their leg muscles were paralyzed. So I'll find out more about that and get back to you. I've heard just the phrase.
Okay, we have, there's an example of an iron lung that one of our neighboring Rotary clubs up in the Ventura area has. It would be something to see, or for our District 5300 to share sometime. The other comment I wanted to make sure that we talked about on polio is the fact that when we do give the polio vaccine to children, most times it doesn't take the first or the second or the third time because of the dysentery and because the kids just don't have the immune system to make it work the first or second or third time. That's why we have to continually be vigilant and bully for Rotary for all we've done. A lot of times we don't get credit for all the great work we've done here and how we started it just in the Philippines. And it was an RI president who just said, I want to start here. And the work that's happened since then is amazing.
Thank you, Denise. Philippines. I'm gonna write that down.
Thank you, Denise. Okay, any other questions? Barbara, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dean, for the presentation. I had never thought of using the same infrastructure that the Rotary is using to eradicate polio for COVID. There's certainly criticisms every day in the paper about the rollout, about the distribution, and about how it's being handled by various institutions now. Who other than Rotarians is talking about using our structure? I mean, it seems so plain that this could work. I mean, who else is, I've never heard this before, and it's fascinating.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think what you're seeing is people like me who are getting out to our club members, and then you'll tell two people and they'll tell two people. But I also think that the World Health Organization and UNICEF and Bill and Melinda Gates are saying to themselves, we have this structure. I think we're trying to go back to those organizations and saying, hey, use us. And I wouldn't be surprised, I have not heard this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were to see a fundraiser or even have some of our inoculation teams, because, you know, don't forget, it's a needle. We have to inoculate people with a needle instead of the sugar cube or the drops. But having us sponsor, like we do around the world, teams that go into villages to do all these vaccines. And I think that we lend a non-government organization or NGO stamp of approval to all this kind of stuff, which is good because a lot of countries are wary about the rich nations versus the poor nations. And here we are, a philanthropic organization ready to come forward with all the people ready to work.
Well, it seems like with the success in polio, this is such a reasonable way to go about it. I'm just sorry that it's, you know, not being more publicly discussed, and I hope it gets to a level where it will be discussed more seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. I feel like everyone I've showed this presentation to, and I practice it around the complex here, have all been wowed too. They're like, I had no idea you did that. And number two is what a great idea to extend its reach.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Barbara. Do we have more questions for Dean?
Well, I have a follow-up.
Okay.
If I may, just looking at your time. So there's always a exit to the gift shop thing, right? And so the ask here is, I have a whole football-sized bag of pins that say End Rotary Now. And so I asked our regional chair, what do I do with these things? And he said, oh, you're supposed to say, we want people to become part of the Polio Plus, there's a phrase for this. Well, just called Rotary. Basically, it's the Polio Plus Club. I'm making that up, but there's basically a Polio Plus group. And the idea is we're asking for a commitment from every single Rotarian of $100 a year directly to RI. And I said, well, does the club administrator have to get involved? Is there forms involved? He says, no, you just go directly to the Rotary International website, hit donate now, Polio Plus, put in a commitment. It's $100 a year or $8.33 a month, whatever is your choice. It'll be matched 2 for 1. So your $100 turns into $300. And we want to have people commit that they'll give $100 a year per person, per club, until polio is eradicated. And that's a big ask. I've signed up. The idea being that I'm supposed to have a commitment form and all that kind of stuff, but I kind of trust our friends. So if you just want to do that and just say to yourself, every year I'm going to give at least $100 to Polio Plus and at RI, then I think it's a good thing anyway. And that way you become eligible to get a pin. And I'll be glad to mail some to you, Aaron, and you can hand them out as everybody signs up.
Okay, so the pin says End Polio Now, correct?
actually haven't unwrapped the bag. It's this big.
You said
I'm gonna say that.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
We got that.
Yeah.
I have a question, Aaron.
Okay, Nicole.
Can we do that? Don't we usually do it through our pig and our own club and then we send it from there? Isn't that, do you prefer that? Please give us some direction.
Yeah, so what she's saying is we are collecting money, and we do, when we meet in physical form, we pass around a piggy bank. Who has a piggy bank? Is it Gilda or, okay, or John Jones, I think.
John does.
Yeah, and we collect every meeting a few dollars, and our goal is to collect, I want to say 1,200 this year, John?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and so does that equal $100 per person? No, it doesn't, but yeah. So she's basically asking if, Nicole, you want to restate your question one more time?
Please, I'm asking if we can get it, put it in our club so that we can get it doubled or however it works so that we send it from our club. If you could please give us the logistics of how to do that so that we are credited and we can help with eradicating polio. Thank you.
Great. Well, apparently I'm in charge of this whole effort. So a lot more. They didn't tell me about this outfit when I signed up. But anyway, so I'm supposed to create a spreadsheet that tells everybody what's going on and read up. So I have no problem with that. I think the idea, they're trying to get it to where every club has 100% participation. And this is a grassroots organization, by the way. This is not from RI down. This started in Oregon 2 years ago. And there are the district up there, District 5100 and 5110, I'm sorry. And then there's 2 districts down here in California that have taken it up. And then so our district governor asked us to ask for the same thing. And so I asked today for some clarification. They said, well, there's no way to know that. It's just the fact that we would just submit names of people who've committed to give to polio. So if you've got 100 people in your club and they, whatever, and they give it whatever the money is, then you would say that was that. So I would just work with Aaron and say, okay, Aaron, I'll put down that all of our members have become members of the committed to giving $100 a year to the Polio Plus campaign. And that makes everybody eligible and we all feel like we're doing our part. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Do we have any other questions for Dean? You can raise your hand. All right, looks like those are all the questions. Thank you so much, Dean, for your presentation. We greatly appreciate it. We're definitely on your side and thank you for your efforts. We will be donating a book on your behalf to our Crow Library, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Okay, Rotarians, please don't forget our program for next week is Diane Falconer on climate change and why should you care. We want to thank Bill and the programs committee for that. Thank you all for joining us for today's meeting. The March 14th, 2021 meeting of the Rotary Club of San Marino is adjourned. Thank you all. Enjoy your extra time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great program. Thank you.
Good. And a great.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Dean.